Welcome in. I'm Adam Osland. This is a new episode of Clippers Talk. How long has it been? About 12 hours since our last episode. Did we end about 1:30 a.m. last night? Probably. I just got back from the gym and it went all right. Those gorditas that I had from Taco Bell and then the ice cream and the nerds, they got new nerd clusters out, the grape strawberry, which is what I've been waiting for. So that's a bit of a problem right now. I didn't get my full Halloween treatment in, my full Halloween experience. So sue me. Just putting out the tweet right now that we are up, that we are live. I don't know if enough people here have figured out that you got to hit that notification button so you know whenever the show goes live. This will be centered around a Clippers versus Philadelphia 76ers in Philadelphia preview here. Now, I did lob a tweet out or a text to my old friend Tony Bruno, who is a Philadelphia guy, to see if I could bring him on and get some perspective on what's going on there, as it is an unmitigated disaster right now with what's going on with injuries, infighting in the locker room, Joel Embiid looking for the snitch. It is insanity. So I've wanted to get some perspective from somebody living in the city of brotherly love. I think Tony Bruno's still there. I don't even know, but we'll see. If that happens, click the notification button. Same thing I just said. That's how you'll find this. So the Clippers win last night again, this time holding an opponent to a season low 88 points. It was Sacramento's season low also, the Clippers' season low for points scored against. Just an incredible performance at Intuit Dome. And I just can't stress this enough, but Clipper Nation, you're making a difference. You're creating a home court advantage now. The wall, it's all happening. 7 straight victories at Intuit Dome. They started off 0-4. 0-4. Now 7 straight victories. It is damn impressive. You got 7 misses, by the way. At number 7. From the free throw line last night from the Sacramento Kings. The best free throw shooting team in the league missed 7. Golden State missed 10 a couple games before. This team is humming along. And if you look at, as we go through the preview here, offensive and defensive rating. Offensive rating is still rough. It's at 24th. I think it was at, 22nd going into that game last night. And they definitely had some dips in the second half. It was down to a 7-point game in the third quarter, an 8-point game with about 2.5 minutes left. But the Clippers ran through the tape. I think they finished on an 8-0 run. Defensively, though, they got bumped up after holding Sacktown to 88 points. Now they're 5th defensively on the season. Meanwhile, the Sacramento Kings offense that was 6th going into that game dropped to 9th, dropped 3 spots after what the Clippers did with some Clamp City-like defense against them. Really impressive. I could not be more proud of this team and the identity and the culture that they have built. And we talked about it late last night, but I think it starts with Lawrence Frank. He's the one who pivoted to having a defensive-minded ball club when they knew they were losing Paul George. He brought in guys that would establish that identity on the defensive end. Kaylee said, "Hey, Adam, what's up?" What's up, Kaylee? 3 dozen in here. 3 dozen. A rare second-place finish getting in here on the live side. Welcome in, everyone. Trovo, how you doing, man? I think it's been a little bit overlooked that Lawrence Frank, this was his vision. The coaching staff, Jeff Van Gundy, Coach Lou, they are fulfilling it. The players are doing the job out there, but he's the one who constructed this team the way it is. So I think it needs to be acknowledged. And I know there have been some Lawrence Frank haters out there. And you guys need to take this L. No, take the L, Frank. I'm just saying, talk about it. Let people know. Let L. Frank know that he had a hell of an offseason because it's coming to fruition. The defensive DNA in this team. Trovo said it. Defense wins chips, always. Of course, you're typically a top 10 offense as well. So kind of have to be balanced. Clippers are closer to bottom 5 right now in that area. But without Kawhi Leonard, 10-7. And I do think, and I've been saying this for a while, Kawhi cures so much of what ails them on the offensive side. You will see a different version of James Harden when Kawhi Leonard is back. We don't know when that will be. He's not traveling with them on this road trip. A road trip that will entail, let's see how many games here. 4 road games. They're not back till December 1st. So a nice little East Coast swing. Motown Philly back again. Ba-ba-da-da. Clippers starting off in Philadelphia tomorrow. That's the front end of a back-to-back. Then they'll be in Boston on Monday. Then Wednesday in DC versus the Wizards. And then Friday, another group stage game in the in-season tournament, this time in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. So Clippers now 1-1 in group play. Lost to the Houston Rockets initially, and then last night got the big victory over the Sacramento Kings. 3 dozen said the casuals need to hold the L in Lawrence. Kaylee said, Clippers have been so much fun to watch. The way we keep hot stars cold like Wagner against the Magic or Buddy in the first Warriors matchup has been special. It's a great point. Now, eventually, De'Aaron Fox got going. You can only hold him down for so long last night. But I want to say he only had, was it 5 points in the first half? 5 of the 29 points that Sacramento scored in the first 24 minutes. A season low in a first half in a game in the National Basketball Association here in the 2024-2025 season. We're only 20% of the way in, but incredible. Holding a team to, yes, 29 points. De'Aaron Fox had 4 points in the first half. So he ended up with 29. He had 25 points in the second half. Domantas Sabonis ended up with 24. Where did he have in the first half? 6. So what do you have? 18. Second half. They got to go, and they combined for 26 points, 26 of their, I think, 35 in the third quarter. They outscored the Clippers, those 2 players by themselves in the third quarter, but the damage was done. This was the least amount of points allowed by the Clippers in either half since they allowed 27 on 11-5-21. That was back on November 5th of 2021 versus Minnesota. It was the lowest, though, that any team, lowest scoring output in the first half by any team so far this season. And in fact, it beat it by a wide margin. It was 36. That was OKC holding the Phoenix Suns to a 36-point first half this year. Clippers held Sacramento to 29 points in the first half. Some of that is fluky shooting. A lot of that, though, is the Clippers defense. And Sacktown being off 3 days, Carlo Jimenez brought it up, but yeah, there was probably some rust there. Rest leading to rust. Maybe they were seeing some rust in the red jerseys the Clippers were wearing too. Like, it reminded them how rusty they were. That Mexican Nara said, thoughts on KPJ's progress? I've been talking about it for a while now. I said going into that game last night, last 10 games, he had been shooting 47% from the field. Kevin Porter Jr. No update yet on Norman Powell for tomorrow. I am looking for one from Law Murray. He will be with the team. Haven't heard anything yet. I think it comes out around 5 o'clock Pacific time, the injury report. But you got to feel good having won the last 2 games without Norman Powell and the offense not completely cratering, even without their number 1 scorer. And one of the number 1 scorers in the NBA so far this season, when you look at efficiency, it's Norman Powell. Holo Dolo said, I loved how we responded after they threw a punch in the third. I'm happy that happened. Shows growth in this team. I agree with you. That was a huge three-pointer by James Harden, the right wing. I still didn't love the process of some of it. It was just heavy ISO, and they did get some good looks from three. That was a tough one. James Harden can obviously make that shot. I just was a little bit perturbed by Ivica Zubac not getting a shot off in 8 minutes in the third quarter. When you are struggling like that, and they got good looks, and Coach Lou said at postgame, 90 of their 94 shot attempts were either from three or in the paint. That's great analytics right there. That's what you want. But they weren't knocking down those shots, and I just felt like, well, Ivica Zubac would have gotten one of those shots in the paint. He could have gotten something easier, and he didn't even get one up in 8 minutes in the third quarter. They forgot about Zoo. Nowadays, everybody want to talk. They got something to say. It happens. It continues to happen. Some of that, Zoo had a bad turnover, offensive foul. You know, you got to hold everybody responsible. It's not one person. It's not why it happens, but a little bit frustrating for me there. But 10-7. 10-7, Adam. Look at the big picture here. They got the win, and I agree. Holo Dolo, I like seeing them have to be pushed late in a game where it's an 8-point game with about 2.5 minutes left. They double James Harden like everybody does late in the game, and the Clippers didn't fumble the basketball away. They didn't turn it over. He quickly found Derrick Jones Jr., short roll, got to his float game, got it to go. He was great, had 17 without making a three. Impressive game from Derrick Jones Jr. Carlo, if you're watching, yeah, he was your player to watch. All right, I'm giving you credit. Senseo said having Chris Dunn is like having Pat Bev and Batum rolled into one guy. Ooh, I like that. Of course, I made the comparison to Pat Bev when they first got him because Pat Bev was one of my favorite Clippers ever, one of my favorite players ever. And Chris Dunn is bringing a lot of that energy. And yeah, some Nico Batum too. Very good with his connecting passes. Kaylee said it'll be interesting to see how McCain, who has been hooping, will look against a tough Clippers defense. Yeah, Jared McCain out of Duke. I just actually saw this as we go through the preview here of tomorrow's game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Where did I see this? Philly Sixers Galaxy that I guess I follow on X. So Jared McCain, last 7 games, guys. Jared McCain, 26 points per game, 4 assists, 51% from the field, 46% from three, 96% from the free throw line, getting 35 minutes a night. Woo. The first comment underneath this tweet said, "This is not normal stuff." No, it's not. Now, as bad as Philly has been, well, as good as Jared McCain has been last 7 games. And they did win yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets at home. We'll check the box score on that. Remember, Tyrese Maxey is back now. He came back 2 games ago. I believe his first game back was against the Memphis Grizzlies. They lost again. And he had a poor performance, 3 of 13 there. That was the game Paul George tweaked once again. Looked like they call it a bone bruise of the left knee when he hyperextended it. Same leg that had happened with the Clippers, same leg that had happened with Philly in the preseason that kept him out to start the season. Very concerning. Joel Embiid did play that game against Memphis, had 35 and 11 and looked good, but did not play against Brooklyn last night. And does anybody have the latest from Shams Charania on Joel Embiid? Because I wasn't sure if they said he was out indefinitely. So he's managing swelling in his left knee. He's missing tomorrow's game. He's receiving treatment. Man, that is a really tough blow for this team. Who else we got in here? Chelsea Parent said, "You are a true sicko, Adam. More Clippers talk. Love it." We're 7 days a week here. Hello Dolo said, "It's actually funny to me that James' first step and burst is much better than last year, but his elevation at the rim is lacking. If he can just figure out how to finish better, he'd have insane stat lines." His elevation at the rim wasn't great last year either. I want to pull up his shooting charts if I can. His shooting numbers here and where he's at in the restricted area on his shot dashboard, if I can find it. If NBA.com will work with me. Come on, work with me. Let's see what we got here. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. I want his shot chart in the restricted area. Yeah, he's shooting 45% from, what is this? From like at the rim, but to 9 feet out. That's not very helpful either. Thanks, Muse. Everybody's really helpful right here. I just want his shooting numbers. All right. Less than 5 feet. So he's better than he was to start off the season, at least. Less than 5 feet, though, he's still only shooting 47%, which is not great. You'd like to be above 60% there, at least. 5 to 9 feet, 37%. Ugh. 10 to 14 feet, 34%. Now, we're still at a small sample size. It's early, but if I go back to last season, look from less than 5 feet, he ended up at 59%, so 13% better than where he's at now in that area. So within the restricted area. So he can do better. He will do better. But yeah, the lift is lacking. You can see it out there. I'm telling you, when Kawhi Leonard, if he comes back, I want to believe it's when you will see a different version of James Harden when he doesn't have to do everything. Our friend from Japan is in here. It's 6 o'clock a.m. Great win yesterday. 3 Dozen said, I feel like KPJ should focus more on scoring in the paint than shooting threes. He seems to be more efficient in that aspect. Coach Lou touched upon that last night. I think they want catch and shoot threes because his numbers there, 48% one season, 44% another season on catch and shoot threes with Houston, his last couple of seasons there. I think they want that. It's the ISO off the bounce threes where he's taking fadeaway three-pointers and step backs that he hasn't been good at all. But Coach Lou did touch upon this last night, saying that is where they want him. He's great on the right elbow, guys. Like, that's a shot he can hit. Tomer asked him about those high degree of difficulty shots that KPJ is taking. And they're encouraging the ones that are in the mid-range. He's been good. He's been good throughout his career there. I've been talking about it since the beginning of the season, since preseason. That right elbow is money for him. I wonder, you know what? I'm going to see if I can pull up Kevin Porter Jr.'s shooting splits here. Charts. And see where he's at in that area, since I just found it for James Harden. I'm not going to be able to find it again, am I? Why is it so difficult? Come on, please. Make it easy on me. I got it. So 5 to 9 feet out, he's at 45%. 10 to 14, so we're talking mid-range here. He's at 41%. It's not great, but it's only 27 attempts so far. 15 to 19 feet, a little bit further out, mid-range to long two, 40%. But I think these are areas, and I'll go back further to his time with Houston to check on some of this. But let's see. Yeah, some of these numbers aren't great. At least the 21-22 season. 10 to 14 feet out, 34%. 15 to 19 feet out, 37%. Don't love that. Don't love seeing that. Let me see. But the season before that, he was at 41% in both those areas. Last season in Houston. Okay, last season in Houston. This is the 22-23 season for Kevin Porter Jr. Let me make sure I got this right. Accuracy is policy here on Clippers Talk. Accuracy and honesty. So the 22-23 season, he's getting 19 points per game. That season, from 10 to 14 feet out, on 86 shots, he hit 40 of them. That's 47%. That's good in that range. That's like, for instance, Kawhi Leonard in the mid-range for his career shoots 47%. 15 to 19 feet out, KPJ, 45.1%. That's good in that range. So he's capable. The coaching staff, no doubt, has this, the analytics. It's what Coach Lou was talking about a little bit last night. What else do we got here? Kaylee said, one take about the Clippers that hasn't been mentioned too often is how a lot of their wins, I think is what she's saying, are full-on team efforts. Love it so much that everyone can be on a heater and get closing minutes. Coach Lou has just been riding the hot hand. Whoever has it, whoever's playing well, he's going to go with late in ball games. Last night, I like this lineup that they've been doing because KPJ was so good in the fourth quarter with 12 of his 14 points. In fact, I want to say of his 14 points, they all came within the last 13 and a half minutes of the game because his first bucket came late in the third. So he kept him in with Chris Dunn, with James Harden. So you have three passers and ball handlers out there to take pressure off of James. He knew they were going to blitz him late. That helps. Bacon Double Swiss said to move the ball better without Embiid low key, the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, they're not better without Embiid, my guy. No one cares. Ernie Shart said Miller's been getting a few missed calls that have been disheartening. Yeah, he wasn't getting a great whistle yesterday. Friend from Japan said young 76ers is not strong, but we need to be careful. Chelsea said, sorry off topic, but have you had a chance to talk with Lauren Rosen? She seems great at her job and like a nice person, good at social media game too. Yeah, I'm going to get her on. She's really cool, really nice, super sharp. She's killing it as one of your new sideline reporters with the Clippers now. Trovo said, if we match well against the Celtics, even if we lose, I like our chances when Kawhi comes back. I agree. Edmondo Carino said, even with Kawhi back, the kids have to force Ty Lue to go 10 deep until the last stretch of the season. Fresh and healthy legs for me. I don't care. Holo Dolo said, regardless of the efficiency, James has been getting in the paint a lot this season. Big reason why we have been generating good looks from three. This is a great point by Holo Dolo. Just getting into the paint is he's only taken, a few dozen of those shots. So even though the efficiency is down, that close to the rim, it's not hurting you that much. A lot of those paint touches turn into kickouts. And the Clippers have been one of the better three-point shooting teams so far this season, last night notwithstanding. Ernie said, agreed, Lou needs to keep playing younger, fresher legs. Sensei O said, it's just fun to watch our guys fly around, stay in passing lanes, get deflections, and get out on the break for easy baskets. Last season was a completely different story. Edmondo said, agree with you guys. Bacon said, I can see KPJ turning into a Jamal Crawford type guy later in his career. Oh, yeah, I think six-man potential is real with him. Holo Dolo said, I want to give props to Mo Bamba. Everyone was super down on him. I wasn't. Even claiming Kai was way better. I wasn't. Hope we can all be honest about this now. Mo has been a real difference maker. I remember telling Dime, there's no competition between him and Kai. Mo is on a 1-year veteran minimum guaranteed contract. Kai's on a 2-way. Unless Kai just knocked it out of the park with his minutes at the NBA level, which he didn't. I don't think he was terrible either. He wasn't taking the job from Mo Bamba. I've told you guys how intrigued I've been with Mo Bamba. In fact, one of the shows I did right before he returned, and they are 4-0 so far with Mo Bamba, and this is why I'm not surprised by how well he has played. I talked about the intrigue with him and who he could be. And I'll play this audio for you here. This was before he had played a game yet with the Clippers. But if y'all don't believe me, I think I've been higher on Mo Bamba than most. Love to see a guy at the 4 that big, that can shoot it from the outside, that can rebound, that you can put next to Ivica Zubac. Mo Bamba is not going to be that guy. So who is he? At this point, he looks like, and what I'm hoping is going to be a serviceable backup for this Clippers team. I said when they got him, I think he's better than Mason Plumlee at this point. Plumlee had a really bad season last year for the Clippers, and maybe was never right after he came back from the knee. Love to see. I did a whole show on Mo Bamba returning. If you guys want to check it out, I am a fan. The problem with him is about getting the most out of him, the motor, the drive. And I felt like, and I kept saying this, I wonder what this coaching staff can do with Mo Bamba. He's only 26. He hasn't reached his potential yet. Why can't he give a better effort on this Clippers team? He has. He's on a 1 year. He's on a prove-it contract, too. Edmondo said KPJ is so young compared to the versions we had of our 6 man of the years. Flashes are there. Just give him time to find his threes, and margin of error grows more. Sensei O said KPJ is shifty and a playmaker. He's going to make plays more and more once he gets that confidence all the way up. He is only 23. He had a couple nice passes earlier in that game as soon as he got in last night. I want to see if I have the notes on this, as I try to. He had really good defense on Jamal Murray. Keegan Murray to end the first quarter. He was just missing shots. But he had, I think, a couple of assists early. And Mondo said, "Up, shout out to Mo. Kai will develop too. These guys are teammates." Mo has a lot more experience than Kai. Hello Dolo said, Mo might have looked horrible with other teams, as some of those teams fans claimed. What they've claimed is he's really inconsistent and unreliable with stringing together, back-to-back really good performances. You just don't know what you're going to get. And apparently last season, of note, he was working through a knee injury. And he played through it. The Clippers training staff were like, no, we're not going to let you play through this. We're going to get you healthy. And so that might be why he's looked more spry out there, has some bounce, is moving well. Hello Dolo said, but team personnel matters a lot. Mo doesn't have to do a lot with our defensive personnel, so he's doing his job well. Yeah, I mean, it helps when you have point of attack defenders, the way they can funnel guys towards Mo Bamba, the way they can stay in front of their man and make life easier on backup bigs. 3 Dozen said, the future looks bright for our Clippers team with these promising young guys that we have on the roster and on the G League team as well. All right, let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. They have that team meeting that Paul George, I can't believe this, talked about on Podcast P, even though he's out tomorrow. So is Joel Embiid. But they have Jared McCain. They have Tyrese Maxey. They have enough. Maxey last night in their victory to get them to 3-12. 113-98 over the Brooklyn Nets at home. Maxey dropped 26 on 11 of 17 shooting. So it looks like he's back in rhythm. 3 of 6 from 3. Jared McCain had 30. So those two can get 60 combined between them. Even without Joel, even without Paul George. Now, it was against the Brooklyn Nets. They're 6-10. There are guys you have to be concerned about outside of their stars, too, with this Philadelphia 76ers team. When you look back at the Clippers' 12-point victory a couple of weeks ago at Intuit Dome against them, you saw KJ Martin, former Clipper, had 10 points in that game. Kelly Oubre, he had 18. Caleb Martin had 14. That was a nice pickup for them. They have other guys that can hurt you. Since then, that's when Jared McCain started to take off. He only had 5 points in that game. We know about Reggie Jackson. Kyle Lowry, is he playing much right now? I want to see his game log. So he had 0 points in 19 minutes in that game in Miami and hasn't played since then. So I need to check the injury report here on Sixers. I know it's kind of lengthy. So Lowry has been out with a hip strain. We'll see. He might be questionable for tomorrow's game. Just don't sleep on a team, even though they're in disarray, even though they look dysfunctional and things are falling apart. And are they going to trade Joel Embiid? And is the Paul George signing a total bust for them? Guys can rally around that. That stuff can fuel them. The guys who are available. Tyrese Maxey's a dog. I love him. I love his attitude. I love the fact he called out Joel Embiid. sounded like in that team meeting for showing up late, or in that, closed door meeting for showing up late to team meetings. That's what you want. And this is somebody, I thought he was their best player in the playoffs last year, obviously. He had 40-point game. Maxey is going for it. He is a tough cover. Do the Clippers have the guys to slow him down? Yeah. Do they have the coaching? Yeah. Bacon Double Swiss said, as much as I miss hearing Jeff Van Gundy calling games on TV, I love seeing him give this defense an identity. Hello Dolo said, we putting Dunn on Maxey or McCain, LOL. I think Dunn on Maxey, coffee on McCain. I could see it. Kaylee said, I'm expecting a motivated Bamba against his ex-team. I like that. Frank White said, Bamba didn't get to play in that first game against Philly at Into a Dome. Frank White's here. He said, I know KPJ has a player's option after this season. The Clips should be smart and keep this kid around. We'll see. He still could get suspended, guys. Chunk said, any changes from you, Adam, in going all in this year? People in media are starting to believe in the team, not for a championship, but a legit team outside of our fan base. Any changes for me? I don't know. I've been saying for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. They're really dangerous if they get Kawhi back. With the way the West is set up right now, this Clippers team is a live dog. They would be really dangerous with a healthy Kawhi in a 7-game series against anyone in the West. M7MD Boys said, hope Houston loses 2 games in the NBA Cup. They're 2-0. Yeah, they get to 3. The Clippers aren't winning the Group A. The Group A they're in. What else do we got here? So Philadelphia in their victory over Brooklyn yesterday. They had just 11 turnovers. The Nets had 19. Philly out-rebounded them 40-34. They shot 37% from the outside. They went 16 of 43. They put up 43 shots from distance. I want to see more of the trends going on with the Philadelphia 76ers, even though it's kind of a hard team to scout because they've had so many guys in and out of the lineup that the metrics, the numbers are all over the place. And it's hard to see any of them being that reliable because they've had different guys in and out of the lineup a ton. But I just want to see if we can figure out, okay, how many threes are they taking per game with Nick Nurse right now? Let's see if we can get that. They're at 37, so just about top 10 in threes attempted per game. For comparison's sake, the Clippers are at 34. Who's shooting better from 3? That would be your Los Angeles Clippers. They're just about 10th now at 37.1% from the outside. Somebody said that we have the guys. When I told them that the Clippers, going into last night's game, I talked about how the Clippers were shooting 41% over, was it their last 10 games? I said it wasn't sustainable. It's not sustainable. They're not a 41% three-point shooting team, guys. That is historic. They're not going to end up anywhere close to there. They did it, I think, the 2021 season, where they went top 5 from 3 ever in NBA history. I think they are around a 37% three-point shooting team, maybe 38% by the end of the season. Yeah, it was their last 10 games. They had shot 41.3% from the outside heading into last night's game. And somebody said, why won't it last? And I'm like, because they aren't going to shoot 41.3% from 3 all season with this roster. That would be one of the highest team shooting percentages from 3 on a year ever. Someone else said there's no reason why we can't average around 40% from 3. We got the shooters, and they pick their spots, especially without Kawhi. I don't think they do have the shooters. Like Derek Jones Jr. has been shooting above his career high. Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey. There's a lot of guys that have started hot from 3, and there's going to be some regression to the mean. It will happen. Hello, Dolo said KPJ getting into a great rhythm as the Clippers start rolling and immediately getting suspended would just be the most Clipper thing to happen. Chunk said, as long as we don't get Houston, I can see us beating anyone in the West with a healthy Kawhi, to be completely honest. Frank White said, Nets gave that game away. Cam Johnson was on that game. Bacon Double Swiss said, Norm isn't scared to jack up threes, good and bad ones. Yeah, Norm, he's not going to shoot 49% from 3 all season. He might shoot 44% like he did last year, but he's not going to shoot 49%. So their three-point shooting is going to go down. Now, Harden's can go up. It will go up, his three-point shooting. But this Clippers team right now at 37.1% from the outside, just outside being a top 10 three-point shooting team. They're in that range because they're tied with a couple of teams. That's about, I don't know, that could be around their ceiling depending on when Kawhi Leonard comes back, because he's such an efficient shooter from the outside, and that's kind of overlooked and has gone underrated throughout his career, just how good he is from distance. When people make the MJ comparisons, it's like, yeah, except that whole thing where he can really shoot from the outside. It's kind of a big deal nowadays. Link to 6. I'm not saying he's better than MJ. Link to 6 said, are we going to see Harden with a load management soon? With a load management? I don't know. James Harden always wants to play. He never wants to come out. I think when Kawhi can get back, that will be like in-game load management, where just Harden having the ball in his hands less, having to do less, and they're already kind of helping out in that area by having Chris Dunn in the starting lineup now. That's going to alleviate some of the workload that is so taxing on James Harden. Loli Lou Now said, hey, Adam, Jeff Van Gundy has done a fantastic job to get the team engaged to play defense. Great signing. Coach Lou been on point, like how he calls timeouts. We will be better with the claw when he returns. Good job. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Kawhi, it's going out on a limb, or not going out too much on a limb, but they'll be better when Kawhi comes back. Ernie said, now Miller's will go up too. Come on now, pal. Sure, Miller's three-point percentage could go up, but he shot like 34%, I think, from three in the G League last season. It's really only been in Summer League and preseason where his three-point shooting has looked much better, and he's not going to do it on high volume, so that's not going to affect how good the team is really from three that much. Our friend from Japan said, Adam, what are you thinking about this matchup for Chris Dunn? Oh, who do you want Chris Dunn guarding? Maxey or Jared McCain? Probably Maxey's the head of the snake, as good as McCain has been, but they'll switch off. He and Derrick Jones Jr. and Amir Coffey in the starting lineup if Norman Powell is not back. You got three guys there who are capable. Holo Dolo said, with no JoJo Embiid tomorrow, this game is Big Zoo's name written all over it. Oh, I like that. I really want him to have 15 shots tomorrow. I'm trying to think, how many shot attempts did Big Zoo get in the first game against Philly? How much damage did he do in that 110-98 victory a couple of weeks ago? Also without Joel Embiid. Remember, Andre Drummond got the start. Big Zoo went 7 of 9. Yeah, just 9 shots. He was efficient. 15 and 9 in 33 minutes. I like that line of thinking. You know how I feel about Big Zoo. I want him to get up more shots. Logical Raptors fanatic said Harden load managing would be like guarding the low. Okay. You see, you almost anchorman me, and then I stopped just in time. Frank White said, could you believe Stephen A. Smith said Harden is the only player on the roster that can create his own shot? There is something to that. I don't want to give him any credit, but like KPJ can create his own shot, obviously. Norman Powell can do it here and there, but he can't ISO and get in his bag. That's not who he is. He's a quick decision guy. Get it, attack closeouts, catch and shoot threes, roll to his right. It's not exactly like, he's going to dribble the air out of the ball. But I get what you're saying. Jordan Miller can create too, a little bit. And what do you expect from Stephen A? Okay, more on this preview. So where's Philly at when it comes to offensive and defensive ratings? Again, to update you on the Clippers, they're currently 24th offensively, but defensively they moved in the top 5 with that performance last night against Sacramento. Offensively, the Philadelphia 76ers, scrolling, they are 28th, worse than the Clippers offensively. Now, again, these numbers are skewed. They've had different guys in and out of the lineup. You can't rely on all of them. You don't know to some degree what you're going to get with the Sixers team because they've just had too many injuries and infighting and all kinds of stuff. Defensively, they're 17th. All right. Now, more of the traditional stats here. Again, the three-point shooting, they're getting up 37 per game. Philadelphia. That does interest me because they're playing the analytics a little bit. And if they get hot, they can do damage. The problem is they have not been hot. Last game, they shot 37% from three, but they are second to last in three-point shooting, 32.1%. Keep them there. Remember, we said the same thing for Orlando, and guess what happened? They actually shot worse than their season average from three. They're still the worst in the league from distance, 31%. Well, they got it going against the Lakers. Franz Wagner, one of my favorite players after that big shot. But Philadelphia, second worst three-point shooting team in the league. Keep them there. You have to. Turnovers, we know the Clippers are bad there. Last night was much better. Just 12 or less. I've been telling you that, and Coach Lue came out and said it last night. 12 or less. Problem is they're averaging 17 per game. So where's Philadelphia at there? They're decent. They're 13th, 14.3. So about 3 less per game in the turnover department than your Los Angeles Clippers. How about rebounding in this one? Clippers, this is what has probably surprised me most that I never would have guessed, given the personnel, given how they didn't get that power forward that everybody wanted. How are we going to be able to rebound out there? Guess what? The Clippers have the third best rebounding percentage on the season. Guess what? They're first in defensive rebounding percentage. Offensive rebounding percentage, they're okay. They're 12th. So where's Philly there? Scrolling. Come on. They're 29th in rebounding percentage. Now, they've been missing Joel Embiid for most of the year. That's going to affect things, but they won't have him tomorrow. They won't have him or Paul George beat him up on the boards. They're not getting offensive rebounds. They're 22nd there. They are a very poor rebounding team. What pace do they play at, though, relative to the Clippers? Clippers are 20th in pace. We knew that coming into the season. They're going to be bottom 10. Philly's 27th. So slow, methodical. Clippers are fine with that. That's not an issue for them. What about free throws attempted? Now, again, no Joel Embiid, or else this would be a much higher number. They're 8th still in free throws attempted per game at 24. The Clippers, they're at 16th at 22.4. Free throw percentage. Clippers started off in a real bad spot there. Philly is middle of the pack, 78% of the charity stripe. Clippers now right behind them, 77.6. So that's fine. There aren't a lot of issues outside of if they get hot from three with Philadelphia right now that you have to worry about. And they may play a spirited game. Maybe they'll try to get one back for Paul George because he can't play against his former team in the Clippers, and that's going to motivate them, and they'll rally around that. What do we got here? Renzo the Gamer. The hustle from Harden on defense is what surprised me the most. It's like he's engaged with all the hard workers on the team. He's talked about it post-game, saying, like, he's got to do his part. You're going to be a leader. You can't ask all these other guys to do all those scrappy little things and not give a better effort defensively. He has. Renzo the Gamer said, PG ducking as usual. Come on. He's legit hurt. Bacon Double Swiss said, if we go 3-1 on this road trip, I'll get really excited and buy that awesome red jersey that I missed. But what player? Jonathan Ing said, I would leave Caleb Martin open for 3 and make him beat us. His shooting mechanics look so funky and broke. What is he at from 3 right now, Caleb Martin? Let's see here. Yeah, it's bad. 31%. So it really hasn't translated. Last 2 years in Miami, he was still below league average, around 35%. So far, 31%. And that's just not having the gravity of star players out there. You're missing Joel Embiid. They would be a much better three-point shooting team if Embiid was playing because he draw doubles, he can pass, they get more open shots. Hello Dolo said, Yabusele, Maxey, McCain have been their most consistent three-point shooters. Those are the guys to look out for. Yeah, if I go into the Sixers, let's see, statistical team stats here. So Tyrese Maxey's getting 25 per game, but he's missed some games. He's played in 9. I'm not even talking about Embiid because it doesn't matter. He's not playing. Jared McCain is at 16, but he's at 30 his last 7 games. Paul George at 15. Don't care. He's not playing. Kelly Oubre is getting 13 per game. I've always liked Kelly Oubre. It's funny that he and Paul George are friends now because they used to be enemies. Caleb Martin, he's getting 10 points per game. Yabusele's at 9. Andre Drummond's at 8. Kyle Lowry, you don't know if he's playing. He's only at 6 points. Eric Gordon, former Clipper. Reggie Jackson, former Clipper. They're both around 5 points per game. 3-point percentages. Jared McCain, 43 bleeping percent. Yabusele, 42%. Tyrese Maxey has not shot it well. And that's scary. He's at 28% from 3. A lot of his stuff's off the dribble, so those are tougher shots. But he can be better. He's also missing his guy in Embiid. But you look at the last couple of seasons, like 37% from 3, 43%, 43%, 30% his rookie year. I think the last couple of years are more indicative of who he is. He's close to a 40% three-point shooter. So do not be surprised if he gets hot. But the Clippers do have the personnel now. We feel much better against these explosive, quick guards than we have in past seasons for sure. Our Japanese friend said, "Oh, tomorrow game remain out is norm per Joey Lynn." Joey Lynn just posted that. Let me check. I was texting with Joey Lynn last night. I thought he had a great question to James Harden post game. Wanted to let him know. Yeah, Joey Lynn just put that out there. Norman Powell remains out versus the 76ers, but did travel with the Clippers. We knew that. Christian said Harden is low-key great at rebounding. Yeah, he doesn't get nearly enough credit there. He's one of the best rebounding guards ever. Absent24 said Zoo better get more than 8 shots tomorrow, especially with Norm being out. I agree with you. Renzo the Gamer said the red jerseys look beautiful in person. They did. They really tied the arena together. Yabusele said, Yabusele, absent said, Yabusele is also known as French Ben Wallace. That's funny. Chunk said, hope he gets healthy, but did you see Paul George's podcast after the team meeting? I did. Philly already doesn't like him. I cannot believe I can't believe he did that show. He didn't really say much. He just said they basically had one, and the reporting on it seemed accurate, which I don't know why he said that. He basically ended up being a source by confirming that the reporting about the meeting was accurate. It was very unnecessary. I get it. You have a podcast. That's why people are tuning in. But that's inside baseball or inside basketball stuff that should be kept between the players in the locker room. I don't know how that's going to work out. I know Philadelphia fans, just reading the comment section under that podcast by Paul George was crazy. Somebody said he went from a team he was calling the B team to the Z team. I was laughing hard. All Max said the 76ers have a good team, but they are playing awful. They should be one of the favorites in the East, but they have been dysfunctional. Yeah, a lot of it's still just injuries. M7MD Boys said, need L. Frank to go Stephen A. Smith mode on PJ Tucker and say, oh, come on. Relax, chill. Renzo the Gamer said, on a side note, that food at Intuit is actually pretty good. I've heard that. I haven't eaten there enough. I'm still trying to get to 10% body fat. Now, by the time the season is over, Holo Dolo said, PG is his own worst enemy, but oh well, no longer our problem. Bacon Double Swiss said, the last time I had a red Clippers jersey, it was Cayman, so I feel a Zoo one would be appropriate. I like that. Both guys could finish hook shots with both hands. All right, what else do we need to know about this Philadelphia 76ers team? What about transition points? We know when the Clippers turn the basketball over, it becomes problematic for them in giving up those points. Philly's not great, though. 21st there, 14.1 transition points per game. The Clippers are 16th at 15.8. But that's up from last season for them. Those hit-ahead passes, those long outlet passes, they have been better in that area. It was a point of emphasis coming into this season. Man, they have been really executing everything pretty much they said in training camp. So when it comes to team or opponent fast break points against you, Philadelphia's been better there. They're top 10. They're 10th. They're only giving up 14.9 fast break points. The Clippers are giving up 16.6. Why? Because, well, they turn it over 17 times per game. They just had a game where they turned it over 25 times. They cut that in half and then some with only 12 last night. What about points in the paint? And then we'll be shutting this one down for you guys. Unless Tony Bruno wants to get back to me and come on the show and talk about Philadelphia. Clippers now 16th, middle of the pack, points in the paint at 48.4 per game. Philly is expected without Joel Embiid. Not good there. 43.7 points per game in the paint. That's 23rd in the league. And then how about opponents' points in the paint? How's your defense doing with keeping teams out of the paint? Clippers top 10. They're tied for 10th at 45.9. They're only giving up 45.9 points in the paint per game. Philadelphia is giving up 48.8. That's 19th. Take care of the basketball. Feed Big Zoo. Create some of those open shots that weren't falling last night against Sacramento. That is the most important or impressive part of that game to me. Most important takeaway, you could say, is the fact that the Clippers did not shoot it well. But the process was very good with creating a lot of open shots. Again, Coach Lou's been saying this and completely agree. When they're getting up 43s, that means they're moving the basketball really well. Because they're not doing that unless they're getting a lot of open shots. They're not taking that many threes unless they're getting a lot of open shots. They were missing them last night. And Chris Dunn had a rough night from the outside. Where did he end up shooting? And he may be regressing to the mean. It very well could be happening. I didn't expect him to shoot 40% from the outside. He ended up, some of the other Clippers here, Chris Dunn was 1 of 6 from 3. James Harden, 2 of 10. Eventually, his three-point shooting will turn around, but it might take Kawhi Leonard getting back to help that. Mo Bamba got up 5 threes, 1 of 5. Hopefully that means he's due to knock out a couple back in Philly. Nico was very good, 3 of 5, another 3-point or 3 threes game for him. 3 threes game, 3 threes made game. Jordan Miller, 1 of 2. He had the no-dip 3 he made. Amir Coffey just 1 of 4. He's shooting like 45% from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. was shooting 45%, 0 of 4. So there are some guys that got good looks that typically knock them down and didn't. They went 10 of 42 from the outside, 42 threes. Coach Lou loved it. 90 of their 94 shots were three-pointers or shots in the paint. That is playing the analytics appropriately. Clippers were doing all the right things, and they do that again, they're likely not going to shoot 24% from 3 and 41% from the outside like last night. It didn't even matter. Their defense was that good. They gave up 29 points in the first half to one of the best offenses in the league. In fact, earlier, this is some schadenfreude. I was watching a Sacramento Kings Locked On Kings episode just to see their analysis on the game. They seem to be more dumbfounded why the Kings have been missing so many shots. And I know they have been missing an inordinate amount of three-pointers since the preseason. And that's going to change because they're better than that. Their offense is better than that, but they were still 6th offensively because they were 2nd in the league when it came to two-point percentage. They were shooting 59% there. Clippers clamped it all down. They'd put them in Alcatraz. M7MD Boys said, okay, I'm kidding. It's actually, you're the greatest shoe collecting Clipper in NBA history. You're still talking about PJ Tucker? Al Max said, is Embiid playing the Clippers tomorrow? No, he's out tomorrow. So is Paul George. Absent said, this is the second year in a row the Clips have to play in Boston on the second night of a back-to-back. Clips did win big there last year. It was their best win of the season. Holo Dolo said, we're going to have a significant size advantage. I also expect Derrick Jones Jr. to have a great game as well. Why? Because you just had 17 last night? Jonathan Ing said the Clippers just need to not make as many bad passes and also have good shot selection overall. I think the Clippers will be fine. Don't need Sixers to get out in transition off our bad misses. Bacon Double Swiss. You think Reggie wanted to be on the podcast or PG pressed him to bite the bullet with him? Strength in numbers. It was an awkward show. If they keep losing, if he's not playing, how can you keep doing podcasts? Don't you have to go dark at some point and say, hey, I'm getting in the lab. I'm getting healthy. Because Philadelphia and the backlash is going to be insane there. We talked about this. A player like that in Philadelphia, they will not stand for this stuff. He might get booed his next game at home, like 20 games in. That's insane. That's Philly. Gonza Talks said, just a thought. If we somehow beat the Celtics on the road in a back-to-back, what would that mean for this team? Let me know if we get there. Jonathan Ing said, from what I saw, Reggie showed way more restraint than PG in his willingness to talk about the team meeting. Yes, he did. PG just can't help himself. No, he can't. As I've said before, he manages sometimes to put his foot in his mouth while talking out of both sides of it. X-Mongo Project said, next step for the 76ers, get John Wall. I heard they need playmakers. Come on, guys. Renzo the Gamer said, hopefully it's a blowout so the team can be ready for the Celtics on Monday. That would help, but let's not get too greedy. Jonathan said, yeah, the 76ers might as well sign all of PG's buddies. Bacon Double Swiss said, Project, X-Mongo Project, I heard they're trying to trade for Bledsoe from the team in China he's on. You guys got jokes now. X-Mongo Project, LOL. Christian said, did you see the NBC Bay Area postgame show? It was great for Clippers fans. No, I didn't. I don't know why it would be Bay Area. Kings are in Sacktown. Chunk said, to be honest, I don't think Harden's three-point percentage will get much better unless he starts taking open spot-ups because he still hesitates a lot. If he keeps taking these hard ones, I'd be shocked if it gets much better. Well, the reason he won't have to take as many hard ones is if Kawhi Leonard comes back and there's less of the defense tilted his way trying to stop him. That's my point. Absent said, I'll never forget Reggie Jackson's epic run in the 2021 playoffs. He balled out and the 21-22 season. They don't get to 42 wins without Reggie being so good. Daniel said, PG's pod is really offensive as a fan when he's underperforming. It just doesn't feel right. You know, when you're 3-12 or whatever they are, and he's podcasting about him, about the team meeting and other guys in the league. I don't know. That's going to rub some people in Philly. It's going to rub a lot of people in Philly the wrong way. Renzo the Gamer said, PG will never think he's in the wrong because he got 2 yes men on the pod with him. M7MD Boys said, still can't believe when we won game 4 versus Dallas, I saw PG release another episode. I'm like, dude, we're in the middle of a playoff series versus Luka and Kyrie. Hal Max said, if Embiid and PG-13 are out, that means we should be confident of a good result. Sure, but you can't look past anyone. The Clippers still have a loss to Portland this year. X-Mongo Project said, yikes, a back-to-back again? Didn't realize that. Will there be any games left when Kawhi returns? The schedule feels like we will have a month off before the playoffs. Narrator says they will not. Jonathan Ing says, it's wild how fans received Reggie at Intuit versus PG. Reggie is forever a Clipper fan favorite. Yeah. Bacon Double Swiss said, do you like active player podcasts, Adam? I'm fine with it. But if your team is 10 games under 500 and you just signed it in a new place with the most critical fans in the history of sports, you might want to read the room a little bit. Take a couple of shows off, play some better basketball, get things turned around, and then start doing some podcasts. I don't know. But he can do whatever the hell he wants. I think it's a good show. I do. I'm not going to lie about that just because he left the Clippers now. Gonza Talk said, what's up with our schedule, by the way? We did a schedule episode when it first came out. I told you it was going to be brutal. It feels like we never get a 2-day rest, and we always have a back-to-back somehow. We played 17 already, while some other teams are at 14 games. Yeah, I think they played 4 sets of back-to-backs now. So what is that? 8 of their 17 games have been in a back-to-back setting, or 12, or 16. I'm still tired from last night. All right. We've done back-to-back episodes for, I don't know, a month and a half. We haven't missed a day yet. So I know I'm not comparing myself to the Clippers because they're hurting themselves out there on the floor or anything. But I am a little bit tired. This has been another episode of Clippers Talk. We are 7 days a week. Renzo the Gamer said, I got back like once a month. What? That game 6 versus, I can't even read this. I don't know what it means. I love y'all. Go Clippers. Pre-game show starts at 2. Tip-off at 3 Pacific time. Clippers taking on the Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow in the city of brotherly love, which is the most ironic thing ever. Yeah, we'll have it all for you. Pre-game show at 2. Carlo Meadows on the call at 3. Until then, unless Tony Bruno gets back to me, I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you next time.